Shalom Yashala. All praise to the Most High, Higher, Ashar Higher, Ba'ashem, Mashiach Yeshai. I'm your brother Shimon, coming with a word of truth this morning. Today we're going to go into the promises. The promises that were promised to the nation of Israel, but first promised to the chosen seed, being Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we're going into this for Israel to understand what it is that the Most High is really trying to do here with us, starting way before we became a nation, starting with three men, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? And Most High willing, you get the edification on what it means today and who the promises are for, and the reference of the law, how it pertains to the promises and us receiving them, all right? We're just in the King James today, 16:11. So we're going to start at Genesis chapter 11, verse 27. All right. And it reads, Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begat Lot. 28. And Haran died before his father, Terah, in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. So Terah is from Ur of the Chaldees. Ur is in Babylon. Babylon's a Hamite nation, right? Verse 29. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, and she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran, right? So this is just going into how they separated out of Ur of Chaldees, out of Babylon, right? Now, chapter 12, Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. Now the Most High had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country and the land of thy kindred, and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. Verse 2. And I will make of thee a great nation. He's going to make a nation out of thee. And I will bless thee and make thy name great. Same thing. And thou shalt be a blessing. Right? Verse 3. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So that's 6 promises right there that he's given Abram right here, okay? Verse 4. So Abram departed as Ahiah had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. Verse 5. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came. Verse 6. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. Verse 7. And Ahiah appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto Ahiah, who appeared unto him. So these are 7 promises that the Most High promised to Abram, right? This is the beginning of what he started. Eventually will trickle down to us as a nation. But this is what he started with Abram, all right? Mind you, his name is Abram at this time, and these are the promises, right? We're going to go into the next verse now. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 12. Verse 12. Therefore, it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is thy wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. So this is talking about Sarai. When the Most High was building up the faith of Abraham, and he was having Abraham moving around, looking for food, trying to build him up and get his wealth up, to where when they saw down in Egypt that was his wife, took him from him for a minute, gave him back, and blessed him. Because the Most High smote the king, with some swords, had an angel whooping on him, and cursing the land, right? Because they didn't want him touching Sarai, right? So Abraham's faith got tested a gang of times. The only one that's really talked about is when he about to sacrifice his son Isaac. But he got tested his faith a lot of times, right? Let's go to chapter 13, 14, in verse 14. It says, And the Most High said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward and eastward and westward. Verse 15, For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. So he's repeating that last promise, right? He's going to give him that seed, all of that forever, right? And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth. You're going to multiply him, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Verse 17, Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. And Abram removed his tent, and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto Ahiah. Now, this is just him, going through the land as the Most High told him. He was able to build this altar because the Most High, because Abram knew the oral law, which he was taught by Noah and Shem. Noah and Shem is still alive at this time, right? So Noah and Shem had taught Abram. Abram, this is his youth is not talked about in the Bible. Okay, it starts talking about him when he's what? 75 years old? When he's 75 years old, that's when the Most High, speaking to Abram, right? But he, read the book of Jasher, it talks about Abram knew the Most High since he was 3 years old, and he went to go live with Shem and Noah when he turned 10. And Shem and Noah taught him all the ways of the Most High. So this is how he knew how to build an altar unto the Most High. Because it don't talk about how he taught him, how he knew him. This is how he knew, right? So he built this altar to give sacrifice unto the Most High, for the Most High having an oracle with him, giving him some understanding of what he's going to do with him, right? Now, we're going to go to chapter 17. And he's going to repeat some of these promises to him. Genesis chapter 17, verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, I appeared unto Abram and said unto him, I am the almighty power. Walk before me and be thou perfect. So 24 years went by since he gave him the first time he promised him. Verse 2, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. Right? I'm going to make my agreement between me and you, and I'm going to multiply your seed exceedingly. All the people, your offspring, come from you. Right? Verse 3, and Abram fell on his face, and Ahiah talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. So now we're changing his name because it's giving him the understanding you're going to be a father of many nations. Abraham, right? Verse 6, and I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee. So this covenant he's about to establish, it don't stop. Okay, very important to understand. He said this covenant don't stop. Everlasting, right? Verse 8, and I will give unto thee and thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their power. So also, he said this promise of this land is going to be forever the possession of you and your seed. Forever. Okay? Very important. And he's going to be our power. Forever. Very important. Verse 9, and I said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. Verse 10, this is my covenant which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised. So this is one agreement. Every male of his bloodline got to be circumcised, right? Verse 11, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you. Verse 12, and he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations, he that is born in the house, or bought with money, or any stranger which is not of thy seed. He that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must need be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. So this is an everlasting agreement, physically, that's on our person by getting circumcised on the foreskin of our male member, right? On the 8th day, this is when the Most High said, do this, right? Circumcise your flesh. This covenant is in your flesh. It's your promise, your agreement between me and you in your flesh, right? Now, let's go to Genesis 26. We're going to read how the promise came down. Now, Abram had a wife Sarai. Her name was changed to Sarah. Sarah was barren, so she had a handmaid or slave woman that was of I think Arabia, and Abram went in unto her, and she bare Ishmael. But the Most High said the promise is going to go through the son that comes through Sarah. So Sarah eventually had a child, and this child's name was Isaac. So this is the Isaac we're about to read about right now, that the promise is going to go from Abraham down to Isaac. So this is Genesis 26 and 1. And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. First famine was when we just talked about how he was going down to Egypt, and that Pharaoh took his wife and all that. So this is another famine. And Isaac, this is the promised son, went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. Verse 2, and the Most High appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Verse 3, sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Right? Verse 4, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Right? Verse 5, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So again, the promise and the oath he performed to Abraham is going down to Isaac now. And he's saying because Abraham followed his laws, statutes, and commandments. Mind you, the law's not given yet. It wasn't written down on tablets yet. So this was the oral law. This is what the Sadducees believe. The oral law that was passed down from Adam, Seth, Enoch, Noah, Shem, to Abraham. Right? This is how Abraham knew the Most High and was able to keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, even though it wasn't even written down yet. Right? I understand. Now, we're going to go to verse 24. And this is the same chapter, Genesis 26, verse 24. And Ahiah appeared unto him the same night and said, I am Ahiah, I am the power of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. Right? So he's reiterating, he's encouraging him, just like he encouraged Abraham, told him the promises, told him he'd bless him. He did the same thing with Isaac, let him know, because mind you, they're living in a land where they're not the original inhabitants of. They live around Canaanites, right? So he's trying to encourage him, man, I'm with you, don't trip, right? Now let's go to Jacob, all right? So Isaac ended up having a wife of his kindred, Rebekah, and she had two sons, Jacob and Esau, right? Esau was born first, but the Most High said, the promise is going to go to Jacob. Esau served his birthright, which allowed the blessings that were supposed to go to him, go down to Jacob. And then Jacob went in, when Esau tried to be slick and try to steal the blessings anyway, he went in by the instruction of his mother to go in and get the blessings. And when Isaac was about to pass away, he wanted to eat a nice last meal. He told his son Esau to go hunt the meat, bring it. And he left. Rebekah, who was visited by an angel, and told him that the elder's going to serve the younger, which Esau is going to serve Jacob. Told Jacob, go in there and do what your mother say. Go get this promise. I'm going to make the food up for you. You act like you Esau. You put on raiment. You put on clothes that smell like Esau. Go in there and get the promise. So this is what Isaac blessed Jacob with when he went in there. All right, it's Genesis chapter 27, verse 27. And he came near and kissed him. So, Jacob came near to his father and kissed him. And he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Ahiah hath blessed. Verse 28, therefore Ahiah give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. So he just gave him everything. All the blessings of heaven, all the blessings of the earth, and the whole earth. Okay? All the land. Verse 29, let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. So everyone's going to serve you, and all nations are going to bow down to you. And be master over thy brethren, who was Esau, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Who was Esau? Her mother's son, his mother's sons, who was Esau, going to bow down to her. Cursed be everyone that cursed thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee. Same blessings that he gave Abraham and Isaac, now with Jacob. Right? Now, let's go to chapter 29. And we're going to read about the sons Jacob had, right? This is Genesis 29 and 31. And when Ahiah saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So Jacob went to Laban, his uncle's house, back in that land where Abraham left Nahor. Nahor had sons Lot, Laban. I think Laban was another one of his sons. So he went back over there to get wives of his kindred, so the promises can come through the kindred. So when he went over there, he served Laban 7 years for the younger sister Rachel, because she was pretty to him. But Laban subtly, in the darkness of the marriage chamber, after the ceremony, gave his older sister Leah, gave the older daughter Leah to him. Jacob woke up in the morning, already had lain with her, and realized it wasn't Rachel, was tripping. And so Laban dealt deceitfully with him to get him to serve him another 7 years, which Jacob did, because the Most High was blessing the work of Jacob's hands, and Laban was getting rich, right? So now Jacob served 14 years for these two wives, Leah and Rachel, even though he only wanted Rachel at first. And then he served another 7 years to get his money up, right? So when he's there, he's having children with Leah, the one that he didn't want at first, but is still his wife. So this is, again, Genesis 29, verse 32. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, surely Ahiah hath looked upon my affliction, now therefore my husband will love me. So she realized she felt like, man, her husband don't even love her because he didn't even want me. Maybe he gave me this child, now he's going to love me. So this Reuben, right? And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because Ahiah had heard that I was hated, he had therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. That's 2. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name called Levi. 3. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, now will I praise Ahiah. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. That's 4. So that's 4 sons right there. Alright? Go to the next chapter, in chapter 30. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister, and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die. Verse 2, and Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, am I in Ahiah's stead, who had withheld from thee the fruit of thy womb? This is the Most High doing that, man. I'm supposed to do with you, and you ain't bringing forth kids. So that's the Most High that's closing your womb up. Don't even come at me that way, right? Verse 3, and she said, Rachel, behold my maid Bilhah. Go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. Verse 4, and Rachel gave Jacob Bilhah, and she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife, and Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob his son. And Rachel said, I had judged me, and had also heard my voice, and had given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan. That's the 5th child. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a 2nd son. And Rachel said, with great wrestling have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. That's 6. When Leah saw that she left bearing, she took Zilpah her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. So she saw she wouldn't bring forth no children. She's like, hold up, my sister catching up. She done got 2 by her and her handmaid, so let me get my handmaid up. And verse 10, and Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a son, and Leah said, a troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. That's 7. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a 2nd son, and Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. That's 8. Verse 14, and Reuben went in in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. Verse 15. And she said unto her, Is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband, and wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? And Rachel said, Therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. So basically Jacob, since he had already loved Rachel, he was laying with Rachel all the time and wasn't staying with Leah. Mind you, it is according to the law of having another wife. You supposed to have a whole separate house for this wife, whole separate house for that wife. It wasn't all living in one house. Like you got some brethren out here who teach multiple wives, which is not lawful. Alright. Also, I wouldn't have to do a video on that. But that's not lawful. They're in different houses. So when Reuben came with the mandrakes, Rachel was like, look, he can give me the mandrakes, and I'm going to tell him he got to go lay with you tonight. And then, you know what I'm saying, you can chill with your husband. Because he both her husband, but because of this here, I'm going to say, all right, you can get him tonight. Verse 16, And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him and said, Thou must come in unto me, for surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. Verse 17, And Ahiah hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob the fifth son. So Leah done had 5 sons now by Jacob. And Leah said, Ahiah had given me my hire, because I have given my maiden to my husband. And she called his name Issachar. That's 9 sons. And Leah conceived again and bare Jacob the 6th son. And Leah said, Ahiah had endowed me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. She called his name Zebulun. So that's 10 altogether. And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. Glory to the Most High. She is the only daughter of Jacob, Dinah, right? Now, we're going to go to, we got to see what's good with the next daughter. Okay, we're going to see 35. We're going to go to Genesis 35. Now, going to Genesis 35. It says, oh, wait. We got to go back. We got another son. We got another son. We haven't one, two. Okay. Go back. Salakia. Go back. Now, verse 22. And Ahiah remembered Rachel, and Ahiah hearkened to her, and opened her womb. And she conceived and bare a son, and said, I had taken away my reproach. We're in Genesis 30 and 24 now. And she called his name Joseph, and said, Ahiah shall add to me another son. So Joseph was the first child that Rachel had through all that time, right? And so now that's 11 sons now. That's 11 sons Joseph got. And at this time now Joseph said, I want to get up out of here, Laban. You know, give me my kids. I'm ready to get up out of here, right? So, we're going to go to chapter 35. Because y'all know it's 12 tribes in the nation of Israel. And so, now we're going to go to Genesis 35. And chapter 35, verse 16. This is when Simeon and Levi, they had to go bang on these dudes. These Canaanites, one of the Canaanites, man, snatched up Dinah and basically raped her and took her, man. You know, this guy Shechem, one of the Havites. This dude for the Hamites, this Havite prince, snatched up Dinah when she was like walking through the land looking around and laid with her. And so that was not supposed to be done, because we got a holy nation, holy bloodline, and we're not to give none of our daughters to other nations, nations from other nations. Daughters from other nations, we're not supposed to take the wife. So Simeon and Levi went through and killed every male in the whole country, right? Because they laid with her, you know, and then it was like, you know, let we trying to, you know, won't we just be one people and be together, you know what I'm saying? And we'll give y'all our daughters, and y'all can take our daughters, you know what I'm saying? And y'all give us your daughters. We'll be one people out here in the land. And so they answered them subtly and was like, you know what, if y'all get circumcised in your flesh, what we talked about, the law of circumcision the Most High gave to Abraham and his seed, and then we can be one people. And so they was like, cool, because they really loved Dinah. Dude really loved Dinah. All of them got circumcised, and they was hurting, like trying to heal up. While they was hurting, man, Simeon and Levi, like, man, forget that, man. Went through there, killed all the males. Jacob was like, man, why y'all do that, man? Y'all making me to stink amongst the inhabitants of the land. Now they going to get together and rush me. You know, and we going to go to war with these dudes. Simeon and Levi said, man, they supposed to just mess with our daughter, our sister like that, man? That ain't cool. You know, so now they're going to inquire the Most High. They're going up to Bethel to inquire the Most High. What we going to do? I'm saying, because it's finna go down here, and you promised me this land, so I'm going to do what you say. I'm going to stay right here, but tell me what you want me to do. So on the way there, this is what was happening. And they journeyed from Bethel. So after they spoke to the Most High, they're coming back to their house, Hebron. And this is when they spoke. This is what happened. Start at 15. And Jacob called the name of the place where Ahiah spake with him Bethel, right? And they journeyed from Bethel, and there was a little way to come to Ephraim, and Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her, Fear not, thou shalt have this son also. We're in Genesis 35 and 18. And it came to pass, as her soul was departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. So this is the 12th son right here. 12 sons. And Rachel died and was buried in the way to Ephraim, which is Bethlehem, right? And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day, right? So now there go your 12 sons, right there, right? Now, let's go to Exodus. These 12 sons, we're going to go to Exodus 1. These 12 sons, 11 of them were jealous of one of their brothers. Jacob had a coat of many colors, you know. He was a little favorite, you know, cool little favorite. You know, Jacob loved him, you know what I'm saying? So they sold him into slavery. They was going to kill him, but they sold him into slavery. Midianites took him down to Egypt. And he went through a lot. You know, if you read the book of Joshua, it talks a whole lot about what he went through. But eventually he was living in the king's house. The king, he was in jail for a minute. He interpreted some dreams of some other jailers who happened to be employees of the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh had a dream, and one of their employees said, hey, it's a dude, it's a little Hebrew dude down there in the jail. He can tell you what your dream's about. He broke my dream down. So they brought him out. He broke down the dream, which was a 7-year famine that was coming. And that guy was so impressed with Joseph, he put him in second in command, basically vice president, you know, of the whole land of Egypt. And he instructed Pharaoh and the whole nation on what to do in preparation for the famine. And this is how Egypt / Kemet got wealthy back in the day through Joseph, man. He had people selling all they had, selling their land to the country, to where the country owned the whole land, and everyone was basically sharecroppers of the whole land. To anything they bought, they had to give a certain percentage back to the Pharaoh, because the Pharaoh owned the whole land. Nobody in the land even owned land, because they needed food at the famine, and was giving all their money to Egypt, right? Joseph being there during the famine, his brothers came down. 10 of them came down. Benjamin stayed at home. 10 of them came down to get food. They also wanted to look for their brother. A little bit of gamesmanship went back and forth before Joseph revealed to them who he was, and eventually he revealed to them who he was, and he asked their father to go get their father to bring them down. They all was given a land in Goshen, the best part of Egypt, which was a lot of pasture valley land, because we were shepherds, you know. The term is Hyksos. You look up Hyksos, 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 you look up, that's what we were called when we went down into Egypt. We were called shepherd kings, Hyksos. Look that up, all right? So we in Exodus chapter 1, start 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Verse 2. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already, right? And so this is the multiplying of the seed, the beginning of it that started with just the 3 sons, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now he's starting to sprout it out, multiply these seeds, right? So they're 70 now, and by the time they leave, which we're going to read in Exodus chapter 12, and we're skipping all the story, you know, about how Moses gave the plagues. Moses was raised up, got the true name from the Most High. How he killed an Egyptian, fled into another land, and served a man called Jethro. Angel of the Most High, which is Yeshai, visited him in a burning bush. Told him to go get his people out of the land. Gave him his true name, Ahia Shoahia, which is his I am that I am in the word, in Exodus 3 and 13, 14, 15. And he went in to go get his kinsman out of Egypt, right? With his brother Aaron next to him, and they went and got him out. So we read now in Exodus chapter 12, verse 37. We'll start at 35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And Ahiah gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. Verse 37. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men besides children. So you got 70 souls, then they multiplied to 600,000 men. Now we's a nation now, right? Now we done multiplied seed into being a nation. Now he's ready to bring us out. It's what he did in Moses. Brings into the wilderness and give us the understanding of how he wants us to act as his holy people. Right? Now, let's go to Exodus 19 and 3. It says, and Moses, let's go to start at 1. And in the third month, when the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai. For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moses went up unto Ahiah, and Ahiah called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Right? And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. So he's trying to bring them into the understanding of the covenant that was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and how he's going to treat them according to the promises he gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You're going to be a holy nation. You're going to be a peculiar people unto me. You're going to be above all nations. The earth is mine. I'll give the whole earth to you if you keep my covenant, right? So let's go on down to, let's go to 33. Exodus 33. Exodus 33 and 1. Right? Hold on. Let's go to, let's go back to Genesis 48 right quick. Genesis 48. Touch on something right quick. Right? So, and I forgot this is what I got to go back to. Joseph had 2 children when he went out in Egypt. He had Ephraim and he had Manasseh. Okay, so he didn't have no more kids other than that. So the multiplying of the seed was going to come through those 2 children. Right? Because it's always through the seed. Matter of fact, let me read Leviticus right quick so you know. The seed is always through the man. Don't matter what the woman is when it comes to bloodline and pedigree. Seed is through the man, okay? This is Leviticus 15 and 16. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in the water, and be clean until evening. Verse 17, and every garment, every skin whereupon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water, and be unclean unto the evening. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water, and be unclean until evening. So the seed is from the man. It's what goes out of him when he's laying with the woman, okay, which is sperma, right? This is what the seed is. So the seed's coming from the man. So it doesn't matter that the wife that Joseph took down there was an Egyptian. Okay, I went through all that to tell you that. The seed is still through a man of the promised bloodline, Joseph. So, we're going to read about Joseph, his two sons. This is in Genesis 48, and we're going to read at verse 11. And Israel said unto Joseph, I have not thought to see thy face, and lo, I had showed me also thy seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. So he got Ephraim in the right and Manasseh in the left, because Manasseh is the older son. So if he walks him toward his father Jacob, Jacob facing him, his right hand is going to be on this side. So he put the older son to go to the right hand and the younger son to go to the other side, right? Because he knows that the older son is supposed to get the blessing. But this is what happened, right? Verse 14. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim. So he reached from this way over to Ephraim that's in Joseph's hand, right here. And laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. Verse 15. And he blessed Joseph and said, Ahiah, before the power before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the power which fed me all my life, long unto this day. Verse 16. The angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name, which is Israel, be named on them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. So he's blessing Ephraim and Manasseh right now. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed him that day, saying, In thee shall Israel bless thee, saying, Ahiah make thee as Ephraim, and as Manasseh. And he said Ephraim before Manasseh. So he said Ephraim over Manasseh, right? Mind you. And Israel said unto Joseph, Behold, I die, but Ahiah shall be with you and bring you again into the land of your fathers. So they're down there in Egypt right now. He said, I'm about to die, but he's going to bring this seed all the way back into the promised land. Moreover, I was given to thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow. So, when you know about the inherited land, Manasseh was given two inheritance. There's a half tribe of Manasseh that took their inheritance on the east side of Jordan, and the other half of Manasseh took their inheritance on the west side of Jordan. So this is the extra portion that was given to him above his brethren, right? Also, it said when he read in let me see. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Genesis 48 at verse 5. It says, And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. So they became sons of Jacob. Okay, this is what I want you need to understand. So they are part of the 12 tribes. So now it's actually 13 sons. You got to see this. All right. 13 sons in reference to inheritance. All right. This is not reference to how many there actually are, because then you're going to say, well, there's really 14. It's 13 sons in reference to inheritance. Now, Levi, who was the third son, he didn't get a land inheritance because he was separated to be a holy people within the holy nation of Israel, to labor in the tabernacle, in the sanctuary, and minister to the Father, offer the sacrifices on the altar, and be priests unto the Most High. So they didn't get a inherited land mass. They were giving suburbs in every one of the 12 tribes' land inheritance. They were given suburbs in all their lands. Okay, so that would leave 12 tribes that you count now, not being named Joseph, but Joseph's name is in Ephraim. So when you read about the scriptures, it'll say the tribe of Joseph is talking about Manasseh. Okay, that's why he said I give you two portions, because it's Joseph, and he got Ephraim set over him, and he got Manasseh. So when you see Joseph in the Bible, it's going to really be talking about Manasseh. When you see Manasseh, it's being referenced as Joseph. It says Ephraim all the time. And Ephraim will actually become the leader of the northern tribes when the split of the nation came. Ephraim was the top, right? And they tell you right here that Ephraim was the younger. But Jacob set him over, right? Now, let's go to... Matter of fact, we missed one more thing. Right? We gotta go to one more thing. Okay? We want to show that we're gonna go to Genesis 32 and 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him unto the breaking of the day. This is an angel. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. Verse 26. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So this is an angel asking Jacob to let him go. Because Jacob, hip came out the socket, and he's still beating dude. He's still wrestling with him, got him pinned. So this tell you the strength that the Most High just gave him Jacob right now. Because he's beating an angel. And the angel's asking him, man, let me go, dude. If the angel could get away by himself, he wouldn't be asking Jacob to let him go. So Jacob is winning, right? He's stronger, right? Verse 27. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. An angel. And he said, Then thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with Ahiah and with men, and has prevailed. So this is how the name Jacob was changed to Israel, how all the offspring of Israel became Israelites. Okay? And this is why the lamb was named Israel, after this man Israel. This is when the physical power was given to the sons of Jacob. And man, he beat an angel. So this should tell you right now how it says one shall chase 1,000 and two shall put 10,000 to flight. Because we're basically angels walking around here, right? Anglo-Saxons, the angelic sons of Jacob, right? That's what Anglo-Saxon means, right? So, princes of the power, we are. That's what it is to be an Israelite. You're princes of the power. The power, Ahiah, the most high power of all powers, Ahiah, Shohaiah, right? Now, let's go to Leviticus 26 and break down the covenant, right? Leviticus 26. And we're going to start at verse 3. If ye walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, this is the if. This is the part of the covenant. If you do this, what's going to happen? Then will I give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield her fruit. So this is a blessing from keeping the covenant that pertains to the land. You're going to get the fruit, right? Vegetables, whatever, right? And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and ye shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in your land safely. So you're going to have all the fruits of your land. You're going to have plenty to eat to the full, and you're going to be safe in your land. So he's talking about this land, right? Because he multiplied the land, multiplied the seed already, saying he blessed them already. He's bringing these promises to pass, right? Verse 6. And I will give peace in the land, peace in your land, no war, and ye shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid, and I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land. So no one's going to be coming through here trying to kill you in your land if you what? Keep these commandments, right? And ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. They had King David. He extended the borders, chasing his enemies, and they was falling by the sword. Nobody was coming into the land. He was chasing them and extending the borders of the nation of Israel, right? Anybody's messing with them, you know what? Let's go take care of these dudes. They was messing with my forefathers before. Let's go take care of these dudes, right? Verse 8, and 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. Why? Because they had that power of Jacob on them, right? 9, for I will have respect unto you, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you. Okay? And you shall eat old store, and bring forth the old, because of the new. So you're going to be having so much blessings coming upon you. You say, I'm going to bless you, right? All your blessings, you're going to be able to eat that old store. We talking about dudes that got old money, because the new money, they don't need the new money. They still spending the old money, right? Same thing you're talking about right here, right? And I will set my tabernacle amongst you, and my soul shall not abhor you, right? And I will walk among you, and be your power, and ye shall be my people. And I your power, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that ye should not be their bondmen, and I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you go upright. So as you can see, this covenant, keeping of the covenant, the blessings pertain to the land. All right? This law that we are under, man, when our forefathers all the way up to today, is helping us receive what that is that the Most High promised us. Right? You got to know this. Right? Now, let me read 14. But if ye will not hearken, if you don't listen unto me, and will not do all these commandments, verse 15, and if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my oath, I will do this unto you. I also, Salakia, I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning egg, and that shall consume the eyes, and cause sorrow of heart. And ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be slain before your enemies, that they that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursue it. That sounds a whole lot about what's going on right now, but it also happened back in ancient Israel, in the land. Right? In the land, this happened. Behold, for the blessings from keeping the commandments, no sword can come through the land. You're going to have peace. You're going to sleep outside. Your enemy's going to flee from you. You're going to chase them. Right? Now, you don't keep the law. In your land, you're going to be dealing with this drama. You're going to be dealing with terror in your land. Right? This happened in there. All the captivities, man. All right? Now, verse 18. If you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I will punish you 7 times more for your sins. And I will break the pride of your power, and I will make your heaven as your iron, and make your earth as the brass. So the pride of our power was the sanctuary, sacrificing to our power in heaven, because Ahia is the one who fought for us. So I'm going to break the power of it, man. And all the nations come in and tear down the altar, man. The Babylonians broke down the altar. It got built back up by Nehemiah. The Grecians come down and offer swine's flesh on the altar, defile it. You know what I'm saying? The Romans tear down the altar. So everybody would always try to go right at our strength, because they know, man, we got to get this temple up and sacrifice to our power in heaven. That's a part of our law. We got to sacrifice every morning, every night, aside from all the blessings and all the feast sacrifices and all the atonements for sin and peace offerings. We got to sacrifice to our power, right? Verse 20, and your strength shall be spent in vain, for all your land shall not yield or increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. So he's cursing the land. This land is going to give us. You're still going to be in the land right now. I'm cursing, right? And if you walk contrary unto me, and will not hearken unto me, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you according to your sin. And I will send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children, and destroy your cattle, and make you few in number, and your highways shall be desolate. These are bringing in the other nations, wild beasts, other nations to come in and destroy us, right? And if ye will not be reformed by these things, but will walk contrary unto me, then I will also walk contrary unto you, and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins, and I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when ye are gathered together within your cities, I will send a pestilence among you, and ye shall be delivered into the hand of your enemies. So then we're going to be conquered by the nations, right? And when I have broken the staff of your bread, 10 women shall bake your bread in one oven, and they shall deliver you your bread again by weight, and ye shall eat and not be satisfied. So you're not going to have enough sufficient raiment. Your provision is going to be dwindled, you know what I'm saying? And you're just going to be not satisfied. You're not going to be peaceful. You're not going to be happy. Okay, the Most High said, every man shall eat good and drink good and be merry off the fruit of his labor. Right? So that's a gift that the Most High said he give to us. But he said, I'm going to take that away, man. Because what? You disobeying my commandment. You're going to eat, you're not going to be full. Right? And if ye will not for all this hearken unto me, but walk contrary unto me. Verse 28, then I will walk contrary unto you, also in fury. Even I will chastise you, even 7 times for your sins. And ye shall eat the flesh of your sons, and the flesh of your daughters shall ye eat. This happened in Masada. Okay, the last stance where the Romans built a trench and lay siege to Masada, I think 7 years. And they couldn't get out and go get fruit, vegetables, food, and was eating their own children. This is one of the curses in Deuteronomy 28. Okay, this is precepts. Deuteronomy means is to repeat. Right, so all this stuff was already said in Leviticus, and it just is repeating. So this is the same thing that was said in Deuteronomy. You should eat the fruit of thy womb, right? When you're in the siege, right? Verse 30, and I will destroy your high places and cut down your images and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols, and my soul shall abhor thee, right? And I will make your cities waste and bring your sanctuaries unto desolation. I will not smell the savor of your sweet odors. Verse 32, and I will bring the land into desolation. Your enemies shall dwell therein and shall be astonished at it. So that's what's going on right now. People are in the land of Israel that are our enemies. They're not the real people. Okay? They're not the real Israelites, right? And the real Israelites are what? Verse 33, I will scatter you among the heathen and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste. Then shall the land enjoy her Sabbath as long as it lieth desolate, and ye shall be in your enemy's land, even then shall the land rest and enjoy her Sabbath. So right now, we're in our enemy's land. Okay, remember, the promise was to give us, the last promise was to give us the land forever. Alright? So because we, eventually our forefathers and us broke these laws, statutes, and commandments, he took us out the land. Alright? So the covenant is helping us get the promises, right? You gotta know this, right? So we're gonna go a little bit into Deuteronomy right quick. I just want to establish a foundation of what the covenant was. It's keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. And if we don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments, those are things that will happen. And that's why we're in our present situation today, living in the land of our enemies, letting them rule over us, letting them have terror over us, consuming us, got diseases from ancient Egypt and diseases that weren't in Egypt. These are all things we're suffering because of the disobedience of breaking the commandments, right? Now, we're in Deuteronomy chapter 29, and we go to verse 10. This is after Moses gave up all the law, statutes, and commandments. This is what he said to them. Ye stand this day, all of you, before I, your power, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water. Verse 12, that thou shouldest enter into covenant, agreement, contract, okay, with Ahijah thy power, and into his oath which Ahijah thy power make it with thee this day. This is the same oath he gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, right? Verse 13, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a power, as he hath said unto thee, and as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, Abraham, to Isaac, and Jacob. Verse 14, neither with you only doth I make this covenant with this oath. So he's saying, I'm not just making this promise with you today. Verse 15, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Ahijah our power, and also with him that is not here with us this day. So that means to us too, because we come from the bloodline and seed of these people, so that covenant is still with us right now, right? All the tenets, the blessings and the curses, we're under that right now, all right? Now, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 29, and we're going to go down to verse 23. And that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning. So this is our land. Same land he promised us. That it is not sown, nor bared, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim. Just to let you know, it was 4 cities, and not just 2. Sodom and Gomorrah was 4. Read about that in the book of Joshua as well. And which Ahijah overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Verse 24. Even all nations shall say, wherefore hath Ahiah done this unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? All right. That's why Yeshua told the disciples when they showed him the city, he said, there shall not be one stone left upon each other. Right? Because all this is going to get laid desolate by the Romans. So just to tell you, the real Jerusalem should not be built up. It should be desolate. And that's why you got to do your research of where that really is. Where Hebron really is. All right. The city of David. Now, verse 25. Then man shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Ahiah power of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. So our land is desolate, and the heathens running out through it. Why? This great place that they should sacrifice to the most high power of the whole heaven and the earth, they've disobeyed his covenant. So this is why it's like that. And people are astonished because they know what type of people we are. This whole history tells about how unstoppable we were as a people when we kept the charge and was upright before the Most High, right? Verse 26, for they went and served other powers and worshipped them, powers whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. Verse 27, and the anger of Ahiah was kindled against this land to bring upon it all the curses which are written in this book. And Ahiah rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land as it is this day. This is what's going down, right? Disobedience, we got rooted out the land was laid desolate, and now you got heathens dwelling in the land, right? Verse 29, the secret things belong unto Ahiah. Secret things belong unto Ahiah, our power, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the works of this law. So this things is being revealed to us, man, so we can receive this promise, because it's about the promise. Okay, we trying to get this promise. Who's the promise promised to? Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, and to his seed forever. Everlasting covenant, everlasting promise. The land of Israel is supposed to be in it. It is an everlasting possession, but we're not in the land. So at the end of the day, as an Israelite, what are you seeking? You're seeking to get the promises, because his word don't end. It don't change. We got to get what he said he was going to give to us, right? Deuteronomy 30. We're gonna let this probably be a 2-part video, man, because it's a lot more. We're gonna end this part with Deuteronomy 30. And it shall come to pass when it shall, this verse 1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither Ahiah thy power hath driven thee, verse 2, and shall return unto Ahiah thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart, with all thy soul. So now as we turn back to the law, statutes, and commandments, we are turning away from the wicked world, the sins that we have been committing unconsciously, and turning back to the Most High with all our power, might, and strength. This is what the Most High said he's going to do, verse 3. And then Ahiah thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion on thee. He's going to start making things not be so bad for us as we're still in captivity, and start having compassion on us, right? And will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Most High thy power hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the uttermost parts of heaven, from thence will Ahiah thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee, right? And Ahiah thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. So he's going to put us back in the land he promised us, and we're going to be more blessed than our forefathers was. You're going to be more numerable there than our forefathers were, right? And Ahiah thy power will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed to love Ahiah thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. This is the new covenant. Hebrews 8 and 8. He's going to make the new covenant with us, put the law in our hearts. That's why he's going to circumcise our heart, put the covenant and the law, statutes, commandments in our heart, and everyone's going to know the Most High, from the least to the greatest. Verse 7. And Ahiah thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and upon them that hate thee, which persecute thee. Everything going to flip-flop, right? And thou shalt return and obey the voice of Ahiah, and do all his commandments which I shall command thee this day. And Ahiah thy power will make thee plenteous in every work of thy hand, in the fruit of thy body, in the fruit of thy cattle, in the fruit of thy land, for good. For Ahiah will rejoice over thee for good, as he rejoiced over our fathers. Height of the kingdom, King David, man, he rejoiced over us, man. We were being obedient, keeping laws, statutes, and commandments, serving him with fear and trembling, and loving him. Verse 10, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Ahijah thy power, to keep his commandments and the statutes which are written in this book of the law, and if thou return unto Ahijah thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul. This is what we got to do, right? In reference to these promises, come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, and the faith in the Mashiach Yeshua. This is the whole thing, another thing of understanding to be an Israelite. If you know you're an Israelite, you're not keeping this law, you're cutting yourself out of all the promises that were promised to us as a nation, all right, to our forefathers. And they are binding by these laws. Because when you break these laws or you break this covenant, all the curses pertain to not being in the land and not getting to be there and receive all the blessings. All right? So all praise to the Most High, Yeshua, Bashim Yeshai. This was an introduction, I guess, into the promises. Part 2, we're going to go into the New Testament and how this pertains to us today. All right? Y'all be blessed. Shalom. Barakatah. Yasharallah. Khan.